Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest ISCA TV podcast. I'm your host, Steve Williams, and today we are grateful and happy to welcome on board Austin Moyer and Mya Loftus from Nomadic Home Services. Although I don't think it'd be nomadic for much longer, but we can come into the potential rebrand that's going on. So, welcome, guys. Happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
having us, Steve.
I think a good place to begin is by letting people know who you are and what it is that you do as a business. So, do you want to run us through that, please?
Yeah, so if you are involved with ISCA at all, you probably heard my name, but I'm Austin Moyer. Um, we run Nomadic Home Services together. We've been in business about 3 years in San Diego, and we do full exterior cleaning from solar panel cleaning to window cleaning and pressure washing.
Okay, excellent. So, how did you get into this? What were you doing for your career prior to this?
So my previous career was auto body, collision repair specifically. And I did that for about 5 years. Um, and that was kind of my main career. And then I wanted to stray away from that. So I then took like 5 years kind of exploring what I wanted to do. I worked as a government contractor for a little while. And then uh, we did van life for a few years and just kind of explored really all types of gig work for a few years. And then we found doing window cleaning, we could do it anywhere. So we started doing it wherever we would travel. And then we realized that this is a really big industry that we could actually make a business out of. And so we decided to move to San Diego and uh, focus in and start a business.
Cool. Okay, so you mentioned a word in there that I don't know too much about. So, Maya, explain to me van life. What's van life?
We have a 1986 Dodge B250 camper van, and it was converted originally in the 80s. As the inside is an RV, and the floors are lowered. You can stand inside of it. It's got a bed, a kitchen area, a bathroom area, living room. Um, we have gone through many journeys with this van of it breaking down on the road, being stranded places, really fun adventures. But essentially, we lived in a van and traveled around the US, pretty much wherever we wanted to go and just kind of explored. This
Wow.
was around the time that COVID was happening, so all of the national parks were less busy with tourists at the time, so we pretty much had national parks to ourselves, which was pretty nice. Um, I'm really grateful for Austin because with his mechanical experience, we've fully rebuilt the inside of the van. We've added solar on top of it and like redid the suspension, redid everything. So it's a really nice camper van. And it's a fun way to travel. We've met a lot of unique people along the way as well.
That sounds amazing. So, give me, as a person that's new into the US, give me your top three national parks that you went to that you think, yeah, he's got to visit those.
Yosemite, number one.
Okay.
In California, it's about 8 hours north of us. Lots of waterfalls, hiking.
The stars are amazing at night. They're so just vibrant and clear.
Mhm.
Another one we really like is Joshua Tree. That's another
Okay.
place where the stars are just you look like you're in space. It's unbelievable how clear the stars are. Um,
The Arch in
yeah, the
Utah,
Moab is another one. That's
the arches.
Yeah. So, I'm getting married to Gemma in October, and then my kids will be across, and Gemma's parents will be across, and we have a couple of guests who want to join us. So, I've curated a week-long road trip through Utah at various places, but Moab is on that list. So,
oh yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
yeah. So that'll be good. So I can't say too much about that because it's all under wraps. I'm the only one that knows the schedule. Um, but I've got some cool things planned, I hope, for everyone that's going to be coming along. I can tell you this is that I want to do that whole rope swing thing that they've got going on at Moab. So
Mhm.
you can like jump off the cliff and do the whole swing thing. So I want to do that while I'm out there. But yeah, so interesting. So let's go a little bit further back then. What's your backgrounds? If I needed to know, let's say, one key event each in your life that led you to take the path that you're on, where could you trace back that pivotal moment to?
So for me, I had the career of being a body tech. I was very fed up with the everyday same
Hmm.
thing every day. And I didn't know really what to do with my life. And I had a buddy that I knew he had this job that he traveled, but I didn't know what that meant or what he did. And he came to me one day and said, "Our company's hiring. If you want to travel the world, apply." And so I said, "Okay, I don't know what this means, but sure, I'll
Yeah,
apply." I
yeah.
got the job, and it was a job in Hawaii. And we were going to be in Hawaii for 1 year. They were going to pay for everything from apartment to rental car to gas and give us per diem for food. Plus, we were working 60s, which meant I got overtime as well. So it was just like, why you couldn't say no to it, right? It's a dream offer for a mass majority of people would take that offer.
A really good opportunity.
Yeah, so I decided to do it, and I had never left my hometown before that. I'd never traveled anywhere. I'd never gone anywhere. I'd never done anything.
Mhm.
And it opened my eyes to this massive world around me. And when I got to Hawaii, I just, I changed my life. I started working out. I started reading. I started realizing that I have more potential than I thought I did, and that this world is much bigger than I ever imagined it was. And from that point, we just, I don't know, just kind of started an entrepreneurial route and decided I wanted to create my own future. I didn't want to, I didn't want to work for someone else's dream. I wanted to create my own dream.
Excellent. Excellent. How about you, Maya? What pivotal moment can you pinpoint?
Mm. So to not go off of the same story that Austin had of Hawaii, because we experienced that together, which I'm really grateful for, is that my previous background is customer service, and that's a couple of the few jobs that I had when I was still in high school and at like local grocery stores. And then I would work my way up, and I was able to get promoted to um, HR assistant manager. So then I started discovering the route of doing HR and clerical work. And then from there, I left the grocery stores and started to find other facilities that I could work at while still doing HR. So then I got to really understand like the backgrounds and inner workings of businesses
Mhm.
and how much goes into the staff and like office work that needs to be provided for these businesses to run efficiently. And when I was doing HR, I was at HR clerical when I was still in Virginia, which is where we're from. And then I left that job and flew to Hawaii to be with Austin and explored the island a bit. And then I got a HR job at a water and coffee distribution center and was an HR assistant manager there for a year. And then after that, we had started our journey traveling.
Okay, cool. So how did you guys meet?
So we went to high school together,
Okay.
but we didn't get together in high school. Um,
We met a couple years after.
yeah, so I had actually already moved to Hawaii, and we had rekindled on Facebook, and conversation started flowing, and I said, "Look, I'm going to be out here for," at that time they were talking about 2 years.
Hmm.
So I said, if we're going to make this work, you're just going to have to come out here. We're not going to do long distance for 2 years.
And the time difference was really hard talking to each other because it was
Yeah.
a
6 hours.
6 hour time difference, and he would work Saturdays as well. He only got Sundays off.
Hmm. Hmm.
So. At that point, I was like, okay, we've been talking for a few months. I just got to go to Hawaii. So I
It's
quit
a
my
good
job.
choice.
Yeah.
I quit my job. I told my mom and brother that I was living with at the time, and they thought I was crazy. But I said, if I don't like it, I can just figure out if I want to stay in Hawaii and not be with him or kind of do my own thing. And I had never lived outside of my home before then. And this was my early 20s at the time.
Mhm.
And then um, when I told him, I said, I don't want you to ask me to be your girlfriend until it's in person because I want it to be more special. But we had already had that connection that we both wanted that, but I wanted to be in person. So when I got to Hawaii, that's when he had asked me to be his girlfriend. And then we've been living with each other ever since, from day
Okay,
one.
that's pretty cool. No, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, couple entrepreneurism is a topic that we will come on to and we'll explore. But I understand the time difference thing, what you're saying, because when Gemma goes back to the UK, she's
Mhm.
8 hours ahead of me, and when she goes on to Singapore or Perth, there's 15 or 16 hours between
Oh
us.
Wow.
man.
It's when she's over there, when she's doing her job, we really need to figure out when we can speak. So yeah, I
Mhm.
understand the whole time difference thing, and it's tricky, you know. Um, it's
Absolutely.
tricky to be in a distance relationship like that. But it's always good when you come together. I think that we enjoy the dynamic that you get a chance to miss each other. That's one of the
Mhm.
things that we find is a real binding factor. I don't live in her pocket, she doesn't live in my pocket, but we have this anticipation when we know we're coming back together, and it's exciting to come back together, and everything still feels fresh. So I think as it's a really nice thing to have that bit of distance. I get to be me, she gets to be her, we get to be together, and it just seems for us to be a really good dynamic. So you said that you were raised in Virginia. So talk to me about childhoods then. So I don't know Virginia at all. I've never been. What was childhood like for you, Austin, in Virginia? What did that look like? What was your childhood like? And then we're mentioning this because it sort of shapes what adults and entrepreneurs we go on to become. So it's interesting to go back that far.
Yeah. I had a pretty interesting childhood. So I I never really knew my father growing up. And I had a lot of family issues going on. So I really only knew my mother. My mom kind of distanced herself from the family. So I grew up in, like I said, in Virginia, but the part of Virginia I grew up in was really ghetto. Um, I actually, it's a place called Portsmouth, aka P-Town. And yeah, I was the minority in my school. I was pretty shy growing up, didn't really have a lot of friends. Um,
He dabbled in Rubik's cubes and like skill toys, so that kind of got him to like start tinkering with things
Okay.
and taking things apart, putting them back together.
I got really big into Rubik's cubes, and then I also did robotics in high school. So that's where I kind of started finding a love for hands-on mechanical stuff.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. So
and
to get your
then,
hands on a rotating brush cleaning solar panels, I bet you love it when it breaks down because it's a chance to
yeah,
slap it again.
yeah, that's why I love the robots at ISCA, and like that's what I did growing up is like we built robots like that. So it's like this is awesome. I know this.
So I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm making an assumption, but if there's no dad around and it's just you and mom, I'm assuming there's a relative amount of poverty there, or was it a money background? What sort of social standing was it for you back then?
Um, yes and no. Uh, I was always told growing up that we were poor, uh,
Hmm.
but because of where we lived, we weren't that poor in
Okay.
comparison. Every time somebody from my high school would come over to my house, it was like it became this thing that every time someone come over, they would say, "You live in the rich houses,"
Okay.
and it was hard for me to understand that because my mom always told us we were poor,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we lived in a nice place. We had nice things.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wealth is one of those massively relative topics, right? So you can be rich in one area and totally broke if you picked up your house and moved yourself and your income to a different area. So it's always a very relative topic. So maybe we could say middle classes then. You weren't going without, but you weren't on the higher end of the spectrum either.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool. And then you learn this creative engineering side of your nature through your high school with the topics that you got engaged in school and also outside of school with the Rubik's Cube and the problem solving. I love the Rubik's Cube. I didn't take them apart. I used to just take the stickers off and put them back on again, and that was my accomplishment. But I did enjoy that. I enjoyed maths a lot when I was at school, so I'm very mathematically driven. Um, I remember being taken to a bookshop as a child and my parents saying to me, you can have any book in here that you want. It was a big secondhand bookshop. So I was looking around and looking around for ages, figuring out which book I wanted. And I picked up volume one of the Encyclopedia Britannica is what I picked up. And they looked at me, they said, you want volume one of an encyclopedia? And I was like, yeah, I said, look how small the print is in there. Look how much information is just in this one book alone. Um, so that was one of my sort of childhood memories, and then I got good at maths as time progressed as well. And so I've got a bit of a unique brain, not in the same way that you've got, Austin, but I've got a very sort of different way of viewing the world and viewing education and things like that as well, I guess. But I've always enjoyed certain topics, and we've just moved into this apartment. I am diabolical at building furniture. Gemma is the one. She gets the tools in her hand and she'll put everything together. And if she gets stuck, she did yesterday, she asked for my help, but within 3 minutes, I'm furious and I'm ready to throw everything out of the room. I just don't get on very well with that sort of things. So that's a little bit of me. And then Maya, coming back to you, what was your childhood like then? Similar to Austin's or a little bit different?
No, completely different. So even though we're both from Virginia, I claim that I'm from Virginia and that's my hometown, home state. But I was born in Washington State. I have a very, very large military family, and my father is retired military and was born in Washington State. Then I moved to Louisiana, and then my brother was born there. And I was about the age six, maybe five, 6 or 5 when my parents got divorced. And then my dad got stationed in Virginia. So we moved to Virginia so we could see my dad, but then he got deployed. So he was kind of in and out of our lives a lot, due to his job. And then, I've lived in a bunch of various states as well before traveling with Austin. I've lived in Indiana, different parts of Maryland as well. And I guess I've always kind of had like a nomadic lifestyle just because of the military life, always moving. It was really hard growing up because I was always the new kid in school. I think at one time counted that I had been to 10 different schools in my life, and that was kind of hard. Not really having friends, not knowing the whole city and area. And we settled in Virginia, and that's mostly where I grew up through middle school and high school, but different parts on like Hampton Roads area, like Norfolk and Portsmouth and Virginia Beach. And my father remarried, so I have a stepmom and I have two half brothers. So I'm the only girl, and I have 3 younger brothers. I'm the oldest. And yeah, that's my childhood summarized.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's interesting you've traveled around a lot. I'm 46. I've just turned 46. I've moved house 26 times. Um, so I never really questioned that too much, but it's only as I've got older in years and I say that to people and they say, you've moved house 26 times, and people find that wacko, they're sort of like, that's a lot. That's a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm averaging a move like once every less than 2 years, which I guess is a lot. But now I'm here in Vegas. I want to be staying in Vegas for the foreseeable future. I have no desire to move on, no desire to leave. But my background, my heritage is Romany Gypsy. So through my mom's side of the family, there's a very, as you say, nomadic, traveling sort of way of of living. So I think I've only discovered this recently over the last like 3 years, actually. I didn't know I was from Gypsy heritage until about 3 years ago. But when I examine my life to date and the jobs that I've had and the work that I do, and I guess the hairstyles I've had over the years, and also the way I fight is all very gypsy. There's all very, very much strong gypsy in me, and I don't like getting in fights. But if I do, then I fight like I'm the third monkey trying to get on Noah's Ark. It's a wild thing to behold. Um, so yeah, the whole nomadic lifestyle, I've sort of understand. I've not done the traveling that you've done across the US and across the States, but in back in the UK, I did move around a bit, and so I think it's a good way of life. It's because you see a lot, you see more than the average person, but also I find it tough to put down roots and feel settled anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when we were first coming to look out in Vegas, we spent a good amount of time looking at RVs, considering, well, for the first year, do we just get an RV, travel around America and figure out where we want to put down roots? And I didn't realize why Gemma was so keen to do that, right? Really. Well, I mean, I was happy to do it, but I didn't really understand why she was so keen to do it. But she said, look, I recognize it's the gypsy in you. You might just have this need to travel. And before you put down roots, and this maybe a good way of doing that. So it's yeah, the whole obviously branding of nomadic home services stems from there. So I don't know if we can go there if we're giving away too much, but I think you're thinking about having a rebrand or going to have a rebrand. So let's come to modern day to the business, and we'll dip back into the past a little bit. But what's going on with your business right now?
So when we came up with nomadic home services, we were doing it just as a side job. Like uh, we started in Colorado, and we had seen on TikTok that you could go out and knock doors, and these guys were claiming like $3,000, $10,000 a day. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, this is probably highly impractical that you can make 10,000 a day from cleaning windows. But even if you could get $250 a day, that's still a pretty good day's pay.
Yeah.
So we decided to try it out, and we started knocking some doors. We got a couple customers, and we're like, okay, we need a real name. So we came up with Nomadic Home Services.
Just on the fly.
Yeah, we thought it was a good fit. We traveled around, and then we would travel from house to house cleaning as well. Um,
Our work vehicle was our retro camper van. It's got stripes down the side of it because it's
Okay.
vintage, and we were pulling a little trailer, so we were working out of our camper, and that was kind of a play from the name as well because we would just bop from house to house cleaning windows, and this was no like fancy water-fed pole setups either. This was just a bucket and a mop from Home Depot.
Yeah.
Very, very minimal expenses as possible to prove this concept that we could even make money.
Mm.
Um, and it worked. I don't know how we did it, but it worked the first time. And I remember that day of just landing the first house that we
yeah,
had door knocked.
I
I'm
think
like, yes,
I think we bid it like $125. This guy had never cleaned his windows in like 20 years.
it was bad.
Wow.
There
Wow.
were like
Bad.
vines growing on all the windows. It took us like 6 hours to clean
Yeah.
the windows, but we proved the concept that we could make money. And yeah, so moving forward after like we went from Colorado, then we went down to Texas. We did it for 6 months in Texas, moving around Texas. Um, and we were still making some decent money. So we're like, okay, this is a real thing. We can actually do it. We can move forward and build a business from it. And so we were like, okay, well, if we can do it from anywhere, where do we go?
Very similar to you guys is okay, well, we're in the States, but where do we want to live? And
Yeah.
before we were cleaning windows, we had traveled back and forth cross country multiple times to try to figure out where we wanted to build a home base and maybe get a house. And it was really dependent on the weather as well. Like Colorado is beautiful, the mountains are gorgeous, but it snows half the year. And
Yeah.
then Texas is wonderful. There's so much land. You could have a huge house with land, but it's hot half the year and the humid is crazy.
Mm.
And we were just like desperately trying to figure out where we wanted to settle down and have a home base to start a business.
And we had never been to San Diego
Yeah.
at this point. And
Okay.
We had been all over California, like Humboldt and the Bay Area and LA, but never this far south.
but like the full 4 or 5 years that we traveled, almost every person we came across that was also traveling would tell us, you need to go to San Diego. What you're looking for is in San Diego.
Mm.
And we would just never made it in this little pocket. And so we said, hey, let's finally go see if San Diego is going to be the place.
We got nothing to lose. Just go visit. If we don't like it, we can always leave.
Absolutely. And that's how we view coming to the States, right? If it doesn't work out, we go back to where we're from. But we are determined to make it work here, as no doubt you guys have been determined to make it on every leg of your journey. So I've been in San Diego, I think 3 times I've been to San Diego. I love it there. It's a really, really nice city. Expensive though, right? It's pretty expensive to live there, I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
That was the number one thing that when we told people we're going to San Diego, they said, how are you going to afford it? It's so expensive.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's good. That means there's money there, money to be made.
Yeah. I mean, property prices are wild from what I know of
They
San
Yeah.
Diego.
are,
I
yeah.
I have a very limited knowledge, but from what I understand, it's a crazy expensive place to try and move to and live. So, your current setup then, you've got Nomadic, you're living in San Diego, you're doing solar panel cleaning, window cleaning, and other exterior cleaning, home services as well, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how do you feel you've managed to grow the solar side of your business? Because it's very different in some ways to window cleaning. So, how have you managed to specifically grow the solar side?
Uh, so solar was never really something I sought out to do. Um, I think maybe so in Colorado there wasn't any solar. Texas, maybe there was a few houses with solar, but we never really considered it. And then as soon as we got here, every house we cleaned had solar.
Hmm.
So I think it just became we had a customer ask us, and we had just gotten a water fed system. So I was like, sure, I can do it. And I remember the first property we did is a 2-story house, and I've always had a fear of heights. And it took me probably 20 minutes off of that ladder
Like
onto the roof.
he was on the
Yeah,
ladder, but his legs were shaking from
yeah,
fear and
yeah.
anxiety. Like his adrenaline skyrocketed that I'm holding it, but I'm shaking because he's shaking the ladder so much. I was like,
Did you
you
go
just
from the
gotta breathe.
ground to 2 stories and you're trying to get off at 2 stories?
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no wonder then you're shaking. I mean, I've kind of done a thing like that once or twice in the past, but that is not a sport for me. It's not something I would like to do. No, not frequently anyway.
Yeah. So after that, I was like, my, there's got to be a safer way to do this.
Reevaluate this.
I don't want to risk my life for $200 because I was terrified, but for good reasons, I feel like. And so that kind of sent me down this spiral of how can I do this safely? What can I do so that I'm not taking 20 minutes to get off this ladder?
Yeah.
And we came across OSHA. Another big one that kind of spiraled us into solar as well is we did a window cleaning job for this lady who had a Tesla solar roof.
Hmm.
And she said, can you clean my roof? And we were like, we can, but we don't know anything about these roofs. And she was like, well, if you're willing to learn about them and you're willing to figure out how to do it properly, I'll give you the chance to do it.
She was really patient with us.
And so that was like a month or two long process of me figuring out how to clean that roof properly.
Yeah.
Um, Tesla solar roofs are they have a 25-year warranty and they cannot be touched by anybody other than certified Tesla installers. And you cannot become a certified Tesla installer until you have sold a roof, and then they will certify you,
Wow.
and then you can install the roof. So there was no possible way I was going to be a certified installer to touch this roof. So I couldn't figure out how to mount to the roof
Hmm.
because you can't remove any of the panels. She had concrete all the way around the house, and she very much was, you are going to be harnessed when you go down on my roof, or you're not doing it. So
We
it,
went to Tesla and we asked them in person, how do we go about doing this? And we met up with an installer that does install the solar roofs, and we talked to him aside and we explained the situation, and he was able to tell us safely how we could install temporary anchors to under the eaves and then throw ropes over. Um, getting the ropes over was the most challenging part because the houses in San Diego are so close to each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the most challenging thing was to what is it when you shoot them?
Yeah, like slingshot.
Yeah, slingshot them across the roof, a double-story house. But we did that, and then he was able to safely mount from under the
But
eaves.
that kind of opened my eyes to like we had called Tesla and I said, "How do I clean your roof?" And they said, "Oh, well, let me look through the like suggestions of this roof or of this yeah, what to do with the roof." And they said, "It says here you should have a certified cleaner install or a certified cleaner clean the roof." And I said, "Well, I am a cleaner and I'm asking you what the proper methods are." And they said, "Well, we don't have the methods. That's up to the cleaner." And then
Mhm.
I was like, how does that make any sense? How am I, the cleaner, supposed to dictate this?
You just
Yeah,
can't void the warranty.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we ended up getting really lucky because we went to this Tesla meeting that was trying to sell panels and sell these solar roofs, and there just happened to be an installer there. And he very much like talked us through this, and that was one of the even fully harnessed, it was one of the sketchiest roofs I've ever done because
Mm.
it's fully glass and the entire time you're just sliding down the roof
Yeah.
and you're constantly repositioning yourself on the roof. It was we had used a water-fed pole
I don't
and
think we had a booster
yeah, I
pump
don't think we
though.
had a booster pump,
So,
so it took me like 10 hours to wash this roof with a
Right,
water-fed brush.
right.
And and then that spiraled me more of like, okay, there's got to be a proper way to do this. There's got to be training. There's got to be something.
but then also like, why should we be cleaning solar? So then that led us down a rabbit hole of what are the benefits? Why do people need to clean solar?
Mhm.
Um,
And really education on, again, why and how to do it properly has really grown us into being able to sell it more to people because we used to kind of mention it to people and say, hey, would you want your solar cleaned? Oh, do I really need it cleaned? And we never really had an answer for that. But now that we can educate the customer and tell them, it's very important you have your solar cleaned. There's fire risk involved. It's going to extend the life of your panels. This really, allows us to sell better rather than just, you should clean your panels, but I can't tell you why.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, safety is a business builder if you know how to pitch it correctly. Safety is a topic that people shy away from, but if they really understood how to leverage safety, it can like really help your business grow. So that was the early days. I mean, you guys have progressed a lot. For those that know you, they will be able to understand how you progressed a lot. But talk us through the journey. So day one was like clean a Tesla roof. How have you got from there to where you are now, and where are you now?
Um, I contribute to where I'm at now to networking.
Mm.
Uh, we had a previous business before, and we kind of learned that the networking was very important. Um,
And I
and
think also the skills of us owning businesses before this one, they were failed businesses, but they had to fail in order for us to learn everything that we know now for this business to succeed. So
Yeah,
whether that's like business credit or talking to people and networking or how to do a website, all of those things come together for us to succeed with this one. So there weren't a lot of failures with this business starting out, but a big factor for you, Austin, I'd say, is you were really heavily driven to advancing the equipment as fast as possible, and that helped us succeed really fast because we didn't just pay a lot of money for new equipment right out the gate. We worked our way up slowly, and the better we started from like nothing, like Home Depot mop and squeegee. And then from there, just working our way up to getting a small, not even a water-fed pole system. It was like a really small old Unger type of
it's a little DI bucket.
DI
yeah,
bucket
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And then working our way up to a cart. And then now we're putting in like a four-stage water system into our van with a hot water pressure washer, slide truck. It, our equipment has advanced rapidly, and that's helped us succeed and be faster on jobs.
And
Yeah.
that's something from my mechanical background that I've really taken away from that is the better your tools, the faster you operate. The faster you operate, the more you make. And
Yeah.
so there's a saying in uh, the mechanic field that every step counts.
Mm.
So if you can have the right tools to take less steps back to your box, if you can memorize what you need to bring for what vehicle, you can take all of it with you and you save yourself time. And so I've brought that into this and realized that if I upgrade my equipment, I make it efficient and I build the systems to clean properly, then I can clean faster and make more money.
Yeah. So I guess the solar cleaning convention has been good for you guys in terms of your business progression for networking, and how else have you sort of grown? What other things have you done actively to say, yeah, I need to do that because if I do that, my business is going to develop.
Um, I think another big thing that's we've grown is sobriety for us.
Mm.
When we were on the road traveling, we were big potheads. We smoked all the time.
Okay.
And as we started to build a business, we started to realize that we can't be foggy-headed, that we don't have time to waste smoking, and
Mm.
that we need to develop an actual business. And sobriety, along with health of like fitness, has really helped us be able to have clear minds to make conscious and good decisions for our business, and also be able to do the things that we do because this is a really physically demanding job,
Mhm.
but also it can be a mentally demanding job too when you're trying to schedule and build these systems and network and market and all of the hats that you have to wear as a business owner.
Yeah.
So it you need to have the mental clarity there, and it puts you kind of a step ahead of the people that aren't willing to be there.
Yeah. No, I get that. And so switching topic just momentarily, you guys are running a lot at the moment. It's like you're running every day, right? So just quickly tell people why you're running every day and what's the aim.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're running every day this year of 2026 to raise $10,000 for the Parkinson's Foundation. It's a challenge called Run the Date, and it's where you run whatever the date is in mileage. So in January, we were running 1.12 miles. Today is May 4th, so we'll be running 5.04 miles. And all the way till December, we'll be running 12 miles every day for the month of December. Um, and it's something we're doing to challenge ourselves, but also to raise money for a great cause for the Parkinson's Foundation. My grandfather passed away about 5 years ago from Parkinson's, and it
Sorry
was
about that. Yeah.
like I said, growing up, I didn't know much family other than my mom, and when I was about 14 years old, I rekindled a relationship with my grandparents, and uh, so I never knew my grandpa before Parkinson's, but I met him at the very early stages of it, and I basically watched him decline the last 10 years or so of his life. And my grandfather was a Navy SEAL who fought in Vietnam, and the stories he would tell me, the stories that people talk about him, this is the strongest man you've ever met. His
Yeah.
nickname was The Rock
Yeah.
because he was built like a rock. He was this strong mental, physical man that could do anything. And towards the end of it, he couldn't control his own body. He could barely walk. He could barely get up out of his seat. Um, it's a horrific disease, Parkinson's, and I think we're pretty close to a cure, but I also think we don't fully understand it. My grandma now lives in a retirement home, and she has somebody there that when she first moved in there, he had Parkinson's. He was on a whole list of medications for Parkinson's, and 2 years went by, and they told him that we misdiagnosed you. You don't actually have Parkinson's. He took him
Wow.
off all of his Parkinson's medications. All of his symptoms completely went away. And so it's a disease that we really don't know what we need to know about it. And it's my aim to help find a cure or help find treatments to better these people's lives because it's a horrible disease and it's growing as we know it or
Yeah.
as we speak.
Well, I wish you all the very best in that endeavor. I hope you manage to get your goal done for the year. I'm sure as entrepreneur business owner, you've inherited your granddad's mental fortitude, and also I know how strenuous the job is. So it seems you've got the muscles from your granddad as well. So I'm sure that, like him, you'll have a rich time ahead of you in terms of experience, and hopefully that will translate into dollars in the pocket, which is why we're all entrepreneurs and business owners in the first place as well. So yeah, I hope that all goes well for you. So at the last solar cleaning convention, you were awarded an award. What award were you given, and how did you kind of get that award?
Yes, so I was awarded the Jason Knight Safety Award for my recognition in safety in the solar cleaning industry. Um, I, I'm not surprised because I know the work that I put in that I received it, but I
Mhm.
am surprised that it was me, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, I feel like every day I feel like I'm trying to be better and do more in safety, and sometimes I feel like I'm not doing quite enough. But when I look at my peers and my colleagues, I'm doing tenfold, a hundredfold more than they are.
It's pretty
absolutely.
surprising, especially if um, they sell safety stuff, but they don't use it online or
Mhm.
at their jobs
Mhm.
or when they go to these conventions. We've been going this year will be our third time going to the ISCA convention, and everyone attends. And they take the classes, and we're like right alongside with them, but they don't implement it. We don't see it online. It's pretty shocking.
I don't know if I've ever told you this story, Steve, but you did a training in LA last year, the bird barrier,
Yeah.
and we stayed after and we talked to this one gentleman, and you explained that we shouldn't use pressure washers, you shouldn't use a surface cleaner. You went over all that. Afterward, he had paid for this class, he went through it, and we were talking to him, and he said, yeah, the class is good and all, but I use a surface cleaner on the panels. It's fast, it's efficient. I'm gonna still keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I sat there and
That was our reaction. We're like,
Yeah.
why are you telling us this?
yeah,
Yeah.
I said, did you not just take this class? And he's like, oh yeah, those are just suggestions, It's not, it hasn't been hurting the panels. I've been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You
And
keep doing it.
yeah, and then it blew my mind that you paid for this training, you came to it, you spent your time into the training, and then you're gonna say, I'm not gonna listen to the training, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. And that's wild, right? So it just doesn't make sense. It's like doing a rope descent course for window cleaning and saying, "Oh yeah, I understand that, but I'm going to carry on tying my own knots. They've not let me down to date, and I'm going to carry on with my own way because my ropes have held me up." It's like, you're just asking for trouble. I know of people, at least two, that have taken the ISCA foundation class. In there is all of the information you need about PPE, and they've got electrocuted. And I've contacted them after. I've got, like, "How did you get electrocuted? Were you wearing your PPE?" And they're like, "No." Well, there's no point getting educated unless you're going to apply
Yeah,
the education that you're given. And I think, I know why you won that award. Obviously, I was a judge and one of the panel of judges, and it was just a hands down winner as far as we're concerned. You've taken the ISCA Foundation class, you've taken the Advanced Fire Safety class, you've taken some of Mike's classes as well, right? Mike Draper, Expert Safety Services.
yeah.
What work have you done there with Mike?
We've done rooftop safety. Maya did OSHA 1910 with him. I've done OSHA 30 on my own, but I
Mhm.
think I took OSHA 1910 maybe again. Um, I think we did drone safety with him.
At IWCA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, if we're at a convention and he puts on a safety class, we try to attend it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, we did the fire and liability webinar, and I just knew as soon as I came up with the concept and I put the event out, I was nailed on. I thought Austin and Maya are going to be there. I know it. So, and you guys were, and it's amazing. It continues to amaze me really how many people know about the training, know about the information, know that they can get better and safer during the process, and don't don't take it. It blows my mind a little bit, really. But that's their decision. That's up to them. But I think that they're not the ones that are getting the awards. They're not the ones that have come from the backgrounds that you guys have come from and have, in a very short space of time in the social cleaning industry, got to where you're at now. So I'm excited to see what your future holds. I was saying to you a few days ago when we spoke that, I'm very keen to see where your careers go to. I think you have a very strong position in the industry. Um, and then Austin, you've been invited to a new position as well recently. Do you want to tell the folks that are listening what that position was?
Yes, I've been invited to the PWNA Solar Cleaning Committee.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to be a part of that.
And again, you're invited to that top table, as it were, because of the recognition that other people are now giving you as they see you as being, one of the trend setters, one of the example setters for where people should be taking their business. So kudos to you, the hard work is not always translated into dollars. Sometimes it's translated into other things that may come your way, other opportunities. And then those opportunities actually take you up another level as well. So they will, that's a nice thing to be able to say that you've got in your CV now, as it were, in your resume to say, okay, well, I sit on the solar committee for the PWNA. That's only ever going to strengthen your business. It's not ever going to weaken your business. So yes, okay, you give a few hours of your time each month for free to an organization, but you're helping to shape an industry, and there's a lot of reward in that. So yeah, I'm glad to have you on board. I'm looking forward to seeing how we can work together on that. So to conclude, then I guess two questions. What does the next 12 months hold for you both? Then I guess I would like a personal invitation, a personal individual answer to that, and also a business. So we'll start with Maya. What do you want for yourself in the next 12 months on a personal and business level?
For personal, I would like to grow mentally and physically stronger. Running every day has been quite the challenge for me as um, to give you some context, I was born with club feet, and which means both of my legs were turned inverted when I was born. And when I was a baby, I had to have casts on both of my feet to straighten them out. And then through growing up, I've had hard casts on my legs to straighten my Achilles and bend my feet at 90 degrees. So
Wow.
I am nowhere near like an athlete. I didn't do track in high school. So this challenge this year is really pushing me mentally and physically. I'm trying to overcome some feet injuries and really remembering the reason why we're doing this and meeting people that have messaged us personally and commented saying, hey, you guys, I have people in my family that have Parkinson's. We met a guy randomly at a traffic light. He was walking and his dad has Parkinson's. So just meeting people around the neighborhood and community that brings back the reason why we're doing this is going to help me grow. And it's a really big push mentally for me because I have the demons inside of me that say that I'm hurting, I need to stop. And I've done races before, like marathons and half marathons. So I understand running like long distances, but I've never done a challenge like this where it's every day, no rest days. Um, so that is going to be my 12 months is just to push myself to out of my comfort zone because that's how I think I can grow and just fully seek discomfort.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fun, and I understand that, but that's where I'll grow is in those moments of discomfort.
Yeah.
ISCA is going to be very interesting for
Yeah,
us.
we're going to be running with higher elevation, which we've already talked about. It's already May, and we've talked about when we go to ISCA, are we running at a hotel on treadmill? Are we going to wake up at 4 a.m. and find a trail? So
Okay.
we're trying to plan what we're going to do. Um,
And that's going to be like 11 miles, right?
Yeah.
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 Wow. So as well as attending the convention, you're going to be running 11 miles a day as well.
Yeah, we don't know if we're gonna do full 11 and like a period in the morning or at night, or if we're gonna split the miles morning and night, what we can do to, because we don't want to miss the convention, but we do really want to participate and be there.
So
So
I mean, we're obviously moving into a much bigger venue this year for the convention. It's going to be in the Blind Center in Nevada, which is a great place in Vegas. Do I need to be putting up, as well as the sponsors banners, like signs saying no running? Do we need to plaster the places with that? You're going to be running around the venue trying to get your mileage in.
no, no, as long as there's seats so we can just sit down.
Rest.
We'll be fine, we'll be fine.
Good.
And then, so that's personal, is just to grow mentally and physically a lot this year. That's my main goal. For the business, I'm going to share our big one is
Yep.
that we are in the process of rebranding,
Fabulous.
and that comes along with a new name, new logo, new website, new everything, new colors, and we are ready for this stage. We've been ready for this stage,
Mhm.
and we feel like before we were little caterpillars, and this will really help us grow into becoming butterflies.
Yeah.
And it's the stage of evolution that we need to evolve. And I think that will really help us build trust with our clients and customers, especially with commercial, and we'll be able to feel proud of a brand, because right now we don't really feel proud because we don't represent this anymore because we're not nomadic, but people also think we're not going to stick around for a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we've got this dilemma going on of representing our current brand now, going through this transition of rebranding. So I'm really happy that we've been able to decide that we're going to rebrand. It's in its works right now. Um, and for you, like
We also have a warehouse, and so we our goal is by 2027, by the end of the year, 2027, is to open this shop here, which we're going to sell solar panel cleaning supplies and pressure washing supplies.
Okay.
Uh, the complex that we're in, there's Window Magic.
Hmm.
Shout out to Randy from Window Magic. She's amazing.
we
Yeah.
love Randy and Jose and Carol.
And her forte is window cleaning, but she doesn't have the knowledge of solar cleaning. And so she comes to me a lot of the time for questions or sends people over to me. So I think we'll be a good fit here with pressure washing and solar cleaning. There's another guy behind me that does carpet cleaning.
Okay.
So
Yeah, nice.
from what we've heard is a lot of the carpet cleaners are getting into solar cleaning as well, which
Yeah.
I think is
Yeah.
a kind of a weird mix of business, but
Yeah.
um, but you know, they're gonna need supplies, and we're in this perfect little pocket that if you want to get any pressure washing supplies, there's a person an hour south from us, and there's a person an hour north from us.
Okay.
And so we could be that nice little middleman.
Yeah, good. Good. So that's the business. And what about your personal, Austin? What do you want to be doing in the next 12 months?
The next 12 months, I am going to continue moving forward with safety, um, with business. So I'm looking to become NABCEP certified as a panel inspector. I am looking to potentially get my pressure washing contractor's license, and just keep moving forward and helping grow some standards with ISCA. Uh,
Maybe some awards for IWCA, but or
ISCA.
sorry, ISCA, but we're not going to talk about that yet because that's still being
Okay.
developed.
Don't give it all away yet, because there will be people that will be in the frame for that. You don't want to disclose your cards too early.
Yeah. And then personally, for the next 12 months, we're running every day, but I am, um, so I just did my first ultra marathon this year, which
Yeah.
was,
Well, yeah. Wild.
it was 50 miles. Took me 12 hours, 18 minutes to complete. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life.
I imagine it
And
was.
And leading up to it for 4 months, I had no idea if I could do this. And I managed to complete it and successfully complete it. Um, so the only way from only the only way from yeah, the only way from here is up.
Yeah.
So I am looking to sign up for my first 100-mile race,
Wow.
which is going to push me even further. Um,
And he's not a runner either. Like he didn't come from a running background. We're just two Joe Schmoes that like to be in pain, to grow, and because since we used to escape our life, like we had mentioned with smoking, and didn't do any physical exercise.
Yeah.
And now that we've gotten sober, we're a year and a couple months sober now, that we've not only been able to explore this like high endurance race and like running long distances, that our bodies can heal as well from that too, from what we used to
Yeah.
do when smoking.
Yeah.
And I don't know, running has just made us like feel alive.
No, no,
yeah,
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. It's so good. So good that you've come as far as you both have.
I'm
So
reading
let's go on, Austin. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I'm reading this book right now from an ultra runner that I look up to, and he talks about that with running and with life, that pain is inevitable, but
Mm.
suffering is a choice.
Your choice, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one huge thing that running has taught me is even in that 50-mile race, I think mile 20, my legs felt like they were going to fall off.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm going to I can continue and push through this and choose to be happy about it, or I can suffer and be in pain.
Yeah.
And it, running has really taught me a lot of how to deal with life and how to get through hard circumstances. And
And let
as
me tell you, running a business is exactly the same, you know.
exactly,
If you're going to go to work, you're probably not going to have days, well, you will have days where you're just not going to enjoy the work. You're going to hate the work. But I think the difference as a business owner is that you're choosing the suffering. You
Mhm.
are choosing to put yourself through the things that you put yourself through when you're the business owner. You will experience a career in the way that an employee simply won't. You will have a different mindset in the way that an employee won't. So I think when you run your own business, you are choosing suffering to some degree or another. And I think only the most tenacious of characters can survive running their own business. It's a very, very, very hard thing to do. I admire anybody that starts it, whether that be a solar panel cleaning company or successfully selling fidget spinners. If you're successfully selling fidget spinners, all power to you, because the principles of running the business are exactly the same. There will be the amazing times when you lift the awards, and you will be the grievous times when the bad things happen. So to take it all in your stride, to use a running analogy, requires endurance, and it requires the choice to suffer to put yourself through these processes. I've been running businesses for 30 years, 2 months from now. I know you both don't think that I look old enough to have been running businesses for 30 years, but I have. And there's been amazing times, and there's been times that have been so difficult, it was unreal. I've been like 2 weeks away from bankruptcy twice. I had to make 24 people redundant, sack 2 people, all on the same day. So I went from 27 employees, all 26 employees plus me and my wife at that time, down to just me and my wife at that time.
wow.
So that's a bad day in business when you've got to make those sorts of cutthroat decisions. But in amongst all of that, you have to believe that the pain will end and you will live to see another day, as it were. So, yeah, all power to you both. I think you're doing spectacular. And then I guess my last question, just to conclude, is what topic in the solar industry should we be talking about that we're not talking about? What do you think is being overlooked?
It's a good question.
Hmm. Do you have one? I'll say one, you say one.
What if it's the same?
I think I think one thing that is a hot topic right now that maybe isn't being looked at the right way is drone cleaning.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a good one.
Um, I have I have a feeling and like I, I'm a skeptic on drone cleaning.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people claim it's safer, but I feel like the saferness of it is the same safer that water-fed poles introduced. It's
Okay.
safer in the sense that you don't have to get on a ladder, but you still have the electrocution risk.
Hmm.
And a drone is safer in the sense that you don't have to get on ladders, you don't have to get up high places to clean. However, you still have a safety risk of a massive chainsaw in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And overspray. We recently did see drone cleaning in person and had a bunch of questions, and there was an immense amount of overspray, depending on where the wind was blowing. And that made me open my eyes to that because I didn't think of that as a factor when drone cleaning or seeing people using their drones. And it's something had happened during this presentation of the drone cleaning as well, which the drone malfunctioned and the kill switch was not able to be initiated.
Interesting.
So there was no crash, fortunately. However, unfortunately, the drone um, malfunctioned and was not able to be restarted. So if this were an actual job, he wouldn't be able to use his drone.
Mm.
Um, and that really made me open my eyes because I didn't know that even existed. And the kill switch did not work. That was crazy.
Okay, well, I've never heard of anything like that, so that's interesting. I
Mhm.
recognize that drone cleaning is a hot topic in the solar industry, solar cleaning industry right now. I'm trying to make it a focal point of the upcoming convention in November. I want a lot of things to be centered around drone cleaning. And we're very fortunate this year that we've got an on-site solar carport, so we've never had that available at previous location. So we're going to have a much bigger and better venue with additional facilities this year. So I'm hoping that as many people as possible come along to that because it is going to be a feast of education, a feast of training, a feast of demos. We're going to do more demos, live demos than we've ever done before. So yeah, drone cleaning is one of those things that we want to center the convention around because we recognize it's the next thing. Years ago it was robots, but we think drones are the next thing, the next real attention grabber. So I look forward to seeing you at the convention. I'm sure that we will see each other in person before then, somewhere along the line. You're not going to see me running around a canyon, unfortunately, because I have a back issue. So running is off my agenda. There's exercise that I'm allowed to do, there's exercise I'm not allowed to do, and running is one of those that I'm not allowed to do. So I think it's great. You know that I love you guys. I'm really glad that you've come on the podcast. I would like to thank you both for being the example that other people should be in terms of attitude, in terms of tenacity and endurance. And as young people, I think you're doing an amazing job of showing where you can come from and where you can go. Um, I said this to you a few weeks ago. I think if that where I'm from is like Section 8 housing, mom was on food coupons, no money around. And so, if I could have sat down, even as recently as 5 years ago, and people said to me, write out the most dreamlike life that you can think of, I would never have been able to write down the life that I've got for myself now. My life is way bigger and better than I ever thought I could even dream of. And I'm sure that you are on the same track. You've both come from humble backgrounds. You're both humble people. You're incredibly hardworking. So I thank you for being an example to all of us. I see a lot of my old qualities in you guys, and I hope and pray that you have futures for yourselves in a way that I've managed to build a future for myself. So thank you both for coming on. It's been my pleasure to speak to both of you, as it always is, and I look forward to seeing you at the convention, if not before.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Steve. I'm glad to set that example. Glad to help try to make a difference with safety and help not only save the cleaners' lives, but the lives of the people that they're cleaning for.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, guys, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Steve.
Take
Cheers.
care.
You
Bye-bye.
too.